Alright, ladies and gents, once again we're back here for another video. So it's gonna be a little bit of a different one. We're gonna be working on this amplifier right here on the map. I guess it's the furthest north amplifier. A lot of it has changed, not too much with the trap tunnel there or in this original opening here, but instead of having all of this block off through the center, we're gonna change up quite a fair bit of it. So if we start off with all of the block off in this miniature tunnel, you can kind of slip back through here. At this ramp facing east, you're just going to place a floor and then, a ramp and then a floor on top. You can edit these two tiles or leave it as a full floor. It really doesn't affect anything. It's just personal preference. Next, this right here is the actual tunnel. So you can kind of look behind it and see. All we're going to do is put two cones behind it facing towards the east and a wall on that side. No need for it here because there's natural terrain. And then we're going to place another stair with a floor on top of it. I have heel pads on these just because it's got the heels build attached aspect. So if for whatever reason something hits on it, it's going to be a little protection there. I also have another stair and floor when we're facing towards the north. It's going to be this little cave that ends up taking you towards C and A. And then two walls right here. It's pretty much all you need for this block off on that side. Nothing's going to try to get around there in the first place. Amp build is pretty much the exact same. If we head over to the east and then face the amplifier, we're going to place two walls like so with a wall dart and wall dynamo. Then when we're facing the south, we're going to leave an empty tile here and place another wall. On the corner towards the southwest, we're going to place a ramp facing the south and then two walls on the north and west side. Going to the corner for the northwest, we're going to have three walls right here. The only open side is going to be on the north, in which we're going to put a ramp. Just put wall darts on the west and the east side. Then continue the wall out one more towards the north and put another wall dart. That's simply because the pathing you're going to see, we have it come up here, so it's going to let the wall dart activate. It's also going to let this wall dart activate if they come here. And another path is going to end right here, so it's going to let the wall dart fire there. You could do a wall dart, or you could do two broadsides if you wanted just to get extra damage. But nothing's going to be really going here except for mini-boss, and it should already be pretty weak in the first place. So, overkill to even add those traps. I just add them so that when the mini-boss is walking around, I can deal some damage to it. So, for the first part of the tunnel, if we follow all of this, it should be pretty much the same. Sound wall, wall launcher, and then we're going to stagger a broadside and sound wall. You can do two sound walls if you're having issues with propane still getting through, but you shouldn't. Just make sure it's a double reload sound wall and a broadside. Same goes for the next tile, double reload and a broadside. Wall launcher at the top, dynamo, all of this stuff is the exact same. But when we get to this part where we have it start to float, we're going to come out a tile and then just continue it all the way over to the north until we get to this point right here. Right. Took this one too far. So it's going to end right on top of this ramp right here. Then we're going to go two walls like so with some broadsides. The perks for those broadsides are going to be crit rating, crit damage, reload speed, and durability. Then we're going to edit some low walls like this for that side right there. And then full wall, a wall like that, a pillar, and then two full walls on that side. You'll see why we're doing this. It's going to start to develop a tunnel, but we're going to go ahead and place ceilings over this. Oops, I got to grab more metal real quick. One moment. So we're going to continue the ceiling like that, and then place two walls. What this is going to allow us to do is, oops, those are the wrong dynamos. Do not copy those dynamo perks. I'm going to show you the right ones that we should have. Let me craft these wall dynamos. They're going to be crit rating, crit damage, and durability. And we're just going to place two right here. Now you have a choice. You can either go with two dynamos or two wall darts. It really doesn't make too much of a difference in things. You can go either direction. I just prefer to go with dynamos. On these two wall tiles, we're going to go with wall darts. We're going to place 2 ceiling electrics in that tile there, a ceiling electric right there, another wall dart here, and then on this wall, we are going to go ahead and place a 3 times impact wall launcher. This one right here. 3 times impact with 2 reload speed. That's just to launch them all the way back over here. If you're having an issue with the husk somehow getting launched over this wall, it shouldn't happen, but if you are, just simply remove that wall, turn it into a window, and place the wall dart back, or wall dynamo back on. Shouldn't happen, but if it does, that's your fix for it. Alright, under this, we're going to go with the tar pit, and then we're going to go with 2 floor freeze, and at the very end, we're going to go with the tar pit. For whatever reason, if a smasher makes it through, it's going to want to charge. The tar pit will catch it, and then it'll be killed right here. Then we're going to craft 1 ceiling zapper to go right on this tile at the very end, just to do extreme damage, crit rating, crit damage, crit damage, and durability, or you can switch out the damage for another crit rating. It's personal preference. You don't really need a reload speed on it, because the only thing we're trying to do is just kill everything as fast as possible. For the gas traps, we're going to go damage, crit rating, crit damage, and durability. You can also use a crit damage. It would be crit damage, crit rating, reload speed, and the effect duration. That's because we're going to have them stuck on top of these freeze traps, so we might as well make sure we're getting as much damage out of it as possible. Alright, so before, I believe we had some ceiling electrics and we didn't have those tiles here. If you want, you can get rid of these 2. It's not necessary. However, there is a spawn that will occasionally happen right around here for the amplifier over in that direction. So I like to keep them just to cause a little bit of extra damage for those 2 spawns. But coming down here, we're going to go with a windowed wall like that. And then 2 low walls like so. On the opposite side, we're going to go with a wall and wall connecting out right there. Then we're also going to take 2 floor tiles, like so. We're going to place a ramp inside of the ground so that husks can get up. And the reason for that not being any closer or not placing floors like this is because there is a hot spot that will land right about here. If we build anything, it's going to get destroyed. So these walls are going to be for the early waves, but when they get destroyed, don't really feel bad about it. Don't complain or anything. The build's going to work perfectly fine. We're just going to place block off exactly like so. That way we can prevent any husks from wanting to go through there when it eventually breaks. Alright. Next, we're going to place a wall right here. Floor, walls like that. And we're going to create a small kill box right here. We're going to bring them 1 more tile forwards. And we're going to be able to connect to the 2 tunnels here, just so that way we path them into the exact same spot. For the block off, we're going to go with a stair and floor, and then we're going to place some walls around and a roof on top. The other thing you can do is keep these edited as low walls. If you're having issues with not getting enough damage, edit these into low walls, place a wall right there, and then you can also connect like this. That's what I do personally, just to be safe so nothing's getting through, but you don't have to. We're going to place a wall dart on this back wall if you do that. If not, don't worry about it. If you keep these as full walls, you can go with a broadside on either side, and then a wall dart on this full wall. If you're doing it the exact same as me with the lowered wall, go with wall dynamos on the edges. We're going to go with the ceiling electric in the back, and then we'll go with a ceiling zapper as well. I'll go ahead and get rid of some stuff so I have the extra space. And we're going to go with the ceiling zapper there. If we come back into the tunnel, ceiling zapper up top. We're going to go with the tar pit. And then a wall dart to shoot out. We're also going to place a ramp right there and go with a retractable floor spike. Nothing should be making it here anyways, but just to be safe, we can add that. If you're having issues with husks still getting through because your trap durability runs out, feel free to add a ceiling electric right there. I just don't really need it. Alright. Next, we're going to have a kill box for them. You can either go with a 3 times impact 2 reload speed wall launcher, or I like to use the all durability 2 reload speed because there's not much need for anything extreme. We're going to go ahead and add that right there. And then we'll go with the tar pit to catch all of the husks. And here's where you have a choice. You can go with a ceiling electric, or I'm sorry, you can go with a retractable floor spike in here, or you can go with a floor freeze. I use a retractable floor spike, and then I place a ceiling electric above. If you're having a bunch of smashers getting knocked in here, you can also remove the retractable, make it a freeze or something, and add some gas traps above it so that way it does the extra damage. We add a wall dart on this tile so that we can shoot straight across, and then 2 broadsides on either side for the extra damage. Heading further back in the tunnel, you can add a pillar just like so if you're having issues with husks cutting corners, but sometimes this can actually trigger smashers, so I personally don't have it. We're then going to place another wall dart right there, and on all of these walls behind the low walls and the window, we're going to place some wall darts. We're then going to go with ceiling electrics right there. And above here, you have a choice. You can go with gas traps or you can go with ceiling electric. I personally use the gas traps just because as they're walking in this water, they're going to be a little slower as is. So it's essentially the same thing as having a wooden floor spike make them walk slower. On this tile, we go with another gas trap and then a gas trap right there. On this tile, we're going to go with the... Sorry, I'm falling over my words. We're going to go with a wall launcher with 2 times the reload speed and durability right here. That way we can knock them all the way back here to have them walk through again and take even more damage. On these low walls, we're going to go with 2 wall dynamos. On this one, we're going to go with a wall dynamo right there, and the rest of these walls are going to be sound walls. So, you can go with 2 reload speed there, 2 reload speed there, and right there. You could also remove this sound wall right here and make that a dynamo, or remove this one and make it a dynamo. Just make sure you have at least 2 sound walls to recycle them. Personally, I use this as another dynamo. Alright. That should be all of the traps covered on this side. Oh, never mind. I almost forgot a trap. So, I believe this is a tar pit. Let me double check that. Yeah, that's a tar pit right there. And then everything should be trapped out. It's going to lead them all the way up here where they'll take even more damage if they make it out. They won't make it out. All of these traps up here are mainly for mini-boss because my goal is to kill them. You can also, if you're having issues with killing mini-boss, attach a wall up here like this, and then place some ceiling electrics on the route that they walk. You could also do the same on this wall because some of the walls around the amplifier are going to break. So you could always go up off of this trap tunnel here, and then place some ceiling electrics like so, just to make sure they die. Completely not necessary, but it's another choice that you can make. I completely apologize. I just realized I did something wrong. Go ahead and make this a low wall or a windowed wall. It really doesn't matter, you can do either. And then place a wall in the back with a wall dart. So you might have to keep this as a low wall for now. Get the wall dart in there, and that's going to allow you to then take a ceiling electric field up top and have the wall dart in the back while also putting a wall dynamo right here. Just going to allow for even more damage. You could go with a low wall, it makes no difference since there's no wall launcher over here knocking husks back. But just wanted to make sure you guys knew about that one because I completely forgot to go over that. Alright, now it's time to cover the north side, which we honestly have plenty of changes, and there's going to be a lot of things that you guys can decide whether or not you want to do. To start with the block off, at the top of this little ramp, instead of making 2 massive tunnels, just place 3 stairs going across and 3 floors on top of that. I have these edited out, and I would like you to do the same. That's because smashers are going to come up to this, go to either the left side or the right, and they will phase through this. It's going to allow the smashers to just completely despawn, and you don't have to worry about any smashers going through your block off. If you wanted to block all of this normally, you'd have to make tons of hefty block off like this and continue it all the way back. It's really not that effective, and this works perfectly. I have tested it for over 15 runs, so if you're having issues with it, let me know, but this should work completely fine. Then we're going to walk back here, and where these ridges are, we're just going to add a stair and another floor on top with some heal pads. That's just in case anything decides to attack it, it's going to be healed up. I don't have heal pads on these stairs, and it still works perfectly fine. If you're having issues with them breaking, try the heal pads first, and then if it still fails, contact me on the Discord or in the comments down below, and I will do my best to help out. But as for the husk spawns, they're going to be all throughout here. So I added some tire drops above, that way we can spawn kill them. But we're also adding a wall launcher right there and there. These are going to be two reload speeds and all durability, just so that way we can cycle them out here, because it's going to knock them down here. It's plenty of recycling, and then they'll just get hit by all of these tire drops again. As for the drops, on this top wall launcher, we're going to go 1, 2, 3 tiles to the north, and then create a 1 by 2, 3, 4. Next, on these last 2 tiles, we're going to extend it over towards the south. And the reason we don't put a tile right here is because it's not needed. Nothing should be landing on that ever. So by adding an extra tile there, we're just really wasting our builds. So no need for that. At the top, we're going to go with a all durability 77 wooden floor spike. The reason it's 77 is because we don't want to cause any damage. So the exact perks are right here. The only thing that's leveled up is the durability perks. We don't want anything else leveled up. You could also use heals that builds attached on the bottom, but nothing's going to attack this floor anyways, so it's much better to just get the extra durability on it in the long run. We're going to place another wall launcher with 0 impact, 2 reload speed. It'll knock them over here, where that way you can place a 3 times impact, 2 reload speed to knock them all the way off, and hopefully into this crevice here, so they can walk up and get cycled out. We're going to place sound walls on these 2 tiles here, and then you're just going to go with a floor and a cone. That's going to be sufficient enough block off, because this is also blocked off right there. Alright, if we head up, 1 more tile, 2 sound walls, so you're going to stagger them, 1 2 times reload speed, and the other with 1 reload speed. If we advance at the top of this ramp, a 2 times reload speed sound wall dart on the back, and a ceiling drop trap above. For this, you can use a normal perked ceiling drop trap. Go for the pure damage in this. We've already finished with recycling. Now we're getting into the killing aspect. And here, we're just the same idea, staggering some sound walls, because there's going to be stuff that spawns up here. We ended up doing a lot up there, which we'll cover in a second. So honestly, this is all overkill. You could get rid of all of this if you wanted. Just complete personal preference for you. Advancing another tile forwards, we got broadsides on either side, a floor freeze on the bottom, and this gas trap above. These are all going to be the same perks as the other side, so just make sure you guys get everything. We're placing a ceiling drop trap above, because this is 3 tile drop. That's the only thing that's going to be able to activate. When a husk walks over this and drops down, so will the tire drop. We're going to place a wall dart on that side, and then they fall down onto a wooden floor spike. And this one is actually going to be meant for damage. So instead of the durability, this one is going to be 130 with 2 crit rating, 2 crit damage. And you can go durability or heals builds attached. Really makes no difference because it's not going to be used that much. 700 uses is plenty. We're going to have a wall dart on the back and broadsides on either side. We're going to continue the broadsides for 2 more tiles. We're going to start gas traps all the way to the end and do 2 floor freezes. Now, just as they're about to go up this natural ramp, we're going to take a wall and edit it into a pillar like so, with a wall launcher with 3 times impact on the end, wall darts on the right, and a tar pit on the bottom. This is just going to hold them here, so that way they can get launched back and walk through all of these traps again. If we go forwards, place a wall right here just to make sure lobbers don't walk out this way and start to throw out the amp, but you do not need to put any damage traps right there. We're going to have wall dynamos on either side of the top, and wall darts to shoot all the way across, with tire drops on top of the ramp, just so they can activate and the tires fall down here to push the husks back and do damage to husks that are a little further back in the tunnel. To be completely honest with all of you, this is overkill. As soon as you get to this part, you could remove everything from here and just let husks walk, because nothing's going to make it there anyways. All of this end portion of the tunnel is just for mini boss, so we're trying to add as much damage as possible just to try to get the mini boss weak so it dies before it actually breaks the amp. Alright, Then we're going to put ceiling zappers until the end of the tunnel. So just 3 ceiling zappers. We're going to go with a floor freeze, wall dart on the left with a windowed wall and a wall dynamo. That's so if anything walks up this right here, it's going to get activated by the... Oops. It's going to get hit by that wall dart activating. Right here, we're going to go with a wall launcher, another wall edited into a pillar, tar pit on the bottom to hold the husks, ceiling zapper, and then we're going to go with a wall dart. Then it connects into the other trap tunnel that we just finished building, so don't worry about the rest of this, it's already built. And that's honestly pretty much it. We just have to cover this upper portion here. Alright, so a lot of this is pretty overkill. You can get rid of a lot of this block off. To be honest with you, I just haven't touched it because I don't want to mess with it all. But you could come over here, add some walls, floors, and cones like this, and create some block off right here. Because now that we're allowed to merge into terrain, it's going to make block off a lot easier. And you could do something like this, which should work. Man, that kunai takes forever. Because the husks are going to spawn over here, and if it's blocked off over there too much, then their fastest route is going to be to just drop down here. I haven't touched this block off since the very, very beginning, so if I end up adjusting it, I'll make another quick video to update you guys. I just haven't had enough time recently with schoolwork to try that, so if you want to, feel free to try it. Just know that's completely up to you to try it. I have no say in if it's actually going to work. All of this block off is the exact same though, so there's no reason to change anything for it. Just make sure you have that cone and floor over there. The only thing I added was I've added a wall going across right above this little, what do you even call this? Like a cave, I guess? And that way it's connected to some tire drops above for some spawn killing. You can go with a 2 by, what is this, 2 by 4. And then you can go forwards an extra tile. No need to put one in this little corner right here. Nothing's going to stand up here. Husks are going to spawn here and walk this way. So you can not really see a husk activating that trap. It's an extra tile. As for this, I added 3 pyramids like so, just to make sure nothing's going to want to stand here and throw. The other alternative, instead of putting these wall launchers with 3 times impact to launch them off, you can instead place 3 wall darts, and that's going to do the exact same thing. Now, in case any of you were wondering why we didn't put stuff right there, that's because these wall launchers, if they knock stuff off and it lands right here, if we added these extra 2 tiles right here, they'd be able to drop off and just keep walking straight to the amplifier. But that's pretty much it, because all of the block off behind here is the exact same. So if you haven't seen it, make sure you check out the other build video. It's going to help you with pretty much everything that we didn't cover, just because it remained the same. But here's an overhead view, just to help you guys out a little more. That way, if anything was adjusted on accident, you guys know what to change. Same goes for over here. Everything is pretty much the exact same. I believe we had an extra wall and tile right here, so go ahead and remove it. It's overkill, not needed at all. We also might have had some gas traps in here. If so, remove those. Completely unnecessary. As for the block off, I did change it. We're going to go with the stair and floor for up the ramp right there. I don't really know how to explain it, but on this ramp, just a stair and floor, and it's plenty. All of this is the exact same from before. Same goes for this here. The reason it's like this is so when there's a potential spawn up here, we can try to get them to drop down. To be honest with you, this is overkill as well. I'm personally removing it because I want the extra tiles. So if you guys don't have any issues with trap durability, go ahead and remove this as well. Honestly, that's pretty much it for the amplifier. Everything else is going to get covered when we do the next amplifier over there. So stay tuned for that one, and make sure you guys view the other video just in case anything was adjusted. But without further ado, that's pretty much it. Make sure you guys subscribe because these videos take a bunch of time for me to do, including all of the testing. Contrary to popular belief, I make these on my own. There are a lot of similarities from Mitch Rob's, and I will admit that because this build, when it was originally created, took heavy inspiration from him. I'm simply updating things to make them a little more unique and a little better. So there are a lot of similarities between his build and mine. If you want, you can check out his, but to be completely honest with you, this build is a lot cheaper and a lot more effective than what his was, especially if you have some decent trap durability. I have max, so you do not need 276 durability. Anything over 100 is perfect, and even then 100 is pushing it for Canny Valley. So, thanks for watching. Make sure you guys subscribe if you enjoyed and if it helped you out. Hit that like button, and of course, let me know if you need any help at all, and I'll see what I can do. I hope you guys have a very good day, and I don't know if this made it out before Halloween or not, but happy Halloween to those who celebrate.